Hey, what is up, you sexy beast? GhostSickness, Tristan here. I have an awesome story for you guys. It's going to be quite long, and so this story actually happened with Will, but you will hear his side of the story in probably a week or so. I have told stories with him that have had him in them, and I've done videos with him, etc., etc., and one of those stories is the amazing night where we stripped for nothing. And so, pretty interesting story. I'll link that in the description below if you want to watch. It's like a 20-minute story. Fantastic if you like having the story void that you need filled. But this all happened on Friday. So this was last night, and you guys will be seeing this Sunday morning. But either way, last night was an amazing night, and it's fresher than my motherfucking click. And so, I'm going to be telling you guys the story about what happened that whole night. That just the amazing, all-encompassing night. So, basically... I bought tickets for this dance, and it all started at the beginning of February. So at the beginning of February, Will was like, okay, well, there's this tri-school dance, which is 3 schools, all the high schools in my city that kind of all come together, and you can dance at this one place. And it's a foam dance with soap and everything. It's pretty crazy. I'll show a picture of it right here from the DJ's perspective, and I'll explain more about that later with stuff like that. So anyway, it all started back then. He's like, hey, do you want to go to this dance in like 3 weeks? We're going to plan ahead and whatever. I'm like, yes, that sounds awesome. That sounds good. You know, good event. Get outside, go do things, the real lifing stuff. And so it finally came to that day, but he wasn't sure he could go because I paid $12 for the ticket because he was selling them, because he actually got them beforehand and he was able to sell them and get $1 commission on each ticket for only $12. Now, at the door, they were $15, so it was pretty good pricing. I was like, all right, well, I'll take a ticket. And I was worried that he couldn't go because I'm like, I kind of want to go with someone, you know what I mean? I don't want to be there alone if I can't find somebody to dance with, because that's what I was nervous about. We ended up going with 5 people total. So there's 4, and then there's me. And so we ended up going with, I'm improvising their names here, but Will, John, Chris, and Chuck, and me. So there's 5 of us, and it was really, really interesting because I was really worried he couldn't go. And like, yeah, I could have gone with them, but it just wouldn't have been the same. I don't know, because Will's just, he's been there for some good things that have happened lately in my life, and he's been a good friend to me, and he'll have his side of the story told in like a week or so, as I mentioned. So it's going to be great. It's going to be great. This is going to be a pretty long story. It's probably why I'm just doing some Black Ops gameplay. And, okay. It came to Friday, and I was like, you know, I'm kind of nerve-wracking. I'm, like, making sure he can go and everything. And he could go, and I'm like, oh, I'm super excited. All right, this is going to be great. I'm very, very nervous, but it was going to be great. And so we go to his house. I'm hanging out a little bit, just him and I. And later we go to my friend Chris's house. And obviously, this is improvising. I'm not going to tell their names. Will is his actual name. My name is my actual name. But for these other 3 guys that are just kind of side characters to this whole story, then I will not reveal their actual names. So we ended up going to Chris's house, and we're just chilling there and, you know, doing guy stuff, talking or whatever, getting ready for the dance. And apparently, Chris and Chuck, these names are so terrible, I love it. Chris and Chuck had ended up preparing for this, you know, dance, and they do every time, and they get, like, their outfits and stuff. They go balls out, dude. It's crazy. So I'm like, I'm not really sure what I wanted to wear, but it's a foam dance with water and soap and foam and you know, that makes like foam and stuff. So you really don't want to wear jeans and a t-shirt like I usually do. And so Will let me borrow some. It's so funny. I hated that, the fact that I had to wear his clothes. But either way, it turned out great. Well, actually, in the end, I ended up borrowing a tank top from Chris, and you'll never see me in a tank top ever, but it was a pretty good looking one. So I'm like, all right, well, I'll wear this. And borrowing sport shorts from my friend Will. And so we get that stuff figured out at Will's house. And then we finally go to Chris's house. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that. And we're chilling at Chris's house, and they have everything laid out. They're all ready. And we finally pick up our friend. Chuck comes over just a little bit after that. And then we finally go to John's house, pick out his clothes. It's so gay. It's just so gay. I don't know. It's just, oh my God. They were pretty boying it up. I thought that was pretty funny. But what can you do? I wasn't sure what to wear at the time either, because I've never been to one of these, and neither has he. So we're like, okay. We all go back to Chris's house after everyone there, all 5 of us and everything. So we have 3 cars total, and we're like, okay. Well, we ended up going to the game that night, but right before the game, they were like preparing for this dance and everything, combing our hair, just doing a bunch of weird guy stuff. I don't know. You know, Chris is showing me all his, you know, cologne collections and everything. I'm like, damn, dude, you got this shit figured out. I only have one. So we end up getting all that shit ready. Our hair's combed, everything's ready. But it ended up, oh my God, this was so funny. So Chris and Chuck leave, and we're like, what's going on? And we just hear like, zzz, dances, and we're like, what the fuck? They just leave. And so we leave the room, and we go in the bathroom, and we see Chuck using a electric razor on the back of Chris's neck, and we're like, what the fuck is going on? And we're like, oh my god. And they're talking about this whole system that they have put in place, and before every dance, because some hair gets on the back of your neck that you really don't notice, and it's actually pretty gross, but so they ended up removing that before, and it's like, wow, I would have never thought of that in my entire life. I ended up saying that a few times. But so they do that to me too, and mine was actually pretty bad. I was quite surprised. Now it's all clean and pretty, but it doesn't get done at the hair place, so it's like, all right, well, whatever. So that's a short thing that happens. We finally end up leaving to the game, and the game was between two pretty face-to-face high schools over some basketball. And so we get there, we're watching the game or whatever. People are cheering on bleachers. People are jumping up and down on bleachers, and I'm like freaking out because I figured the bleachers were like, I knew they wouldn't, but I was kind of like, what if, what if these bleachers just kind of break and then everyone just dies? So that could be a thing because everyone's jumping up and down. It's just sketchy. So we're watching the game, we're losing by a few points, we catch back up, and then we're losing, and then etc. So we leave at halftime when there's people dancing, and just, there was one of the guy dancers, man. Holy shit, he was great. It was so great watching him. It's like, this guy probably gets the most pussy out of all of them. So towards the end, we're trying to leave, and we end up racing because we had taken 2 cars at this point. We had 3 total. We had ended up taking my car, and I drove Chris and John, and then my friend Will drove Chuck, or Chuck drove Will. I'm sorry. He drove him. Yeah, he drove him just like that. And we go back to the house. I ended up winning by about 3 or 5 minutes. We're just chilling there, getting everything ready, just talking and stuff, because the dance had started at 8, and we left around 7:45. And so we're like, well, we'll be a little bit late to the dance, but we're not going to miss that much, because, Will was like, well, it's not going to get very heated up until about 8:30. So we end up finally getting everything ready, combing our hair again, and we didn't do the neck thing again, obviously, why would we? But getting everything ready, colognes on, whatever. And we even ended up spraying our shoes with silicone, which rendered ineffective later. I'll tell you guys why. But to make like silicone spray, which is waterproofing spray basically, to make them so they don't get soaking wet. But they did anyway, but there's nothing we could really do about it. That was our best plan of action there. So this foam dance, as I said, was Friday night from 8 to 11:30. Absolutely fantastic downtown. And so we ended up I ended up driving John to the dance, and Will took his car just solo, and then Chuck drove with Chris. I'm sorry to be confusing with the names. I'm improvising their names. I have them listed right here, but I didn't want to give their names out except for Will and I. But only Will and I really come into play later. You'll hear them occasionally, maybe. I'm not even sure, but man, this story has so much more left to go, because we're not even at the dance yet, and I've already gone 8 minutes, man. This just has so much detail to stories, man. There's just so much I can say. It'd be funny, like, recite the whole, 3.5 hours or whatever. So we finally get there, and right as we get there, we kind of pull over to his car, and Chuck's listening to music from his car, and he has 2 12s in it, or 2 10s or whatever. I don't know. He has subs, and I have one 10. It's okay. I'm not small. Anyway, so he ends up doing that, and it's like, okay, well, this is cool. And then we see people, pull over next to him, other high schoolers from our school or whatever, girls that we know and people that we know, and they start bringing out beers, and we're like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? We're downtown, there are a bunch of adults everywhere, and you guys want to drink beer right before this dance, get some liquid courage. I literally heard those words said. And I'm just like, Will and I are just face palming at this point, because it's not like we don't drink, it's not like we haven't drank, but this was not the occasion to be drinking at, and we did not drink any of that. And so there were some cars coming by, and I'm pretty sure I thought we'd been spotted from some adults. Oh my god. And something funny happened. So one of these other high school kids was walking. This guy's like, oh, I'm gonna move my car over here because I feel lonely, because his car was parked on the other side of the parking lot. And so he's pulling in, and he purposely bumps this kid in his car, and it was just horrifying. I was like, ah, and the kid almost fell over. It looked like it hurt pretty bad, but still only going 1.5 miles an hour, so it was not very dramatic, but I just thought it was hilarious. We finally get in line. It's cold as fuck. It's raining a little bit. It's cold. It's kind of snowing. Waiting in line. I'm just kind of cold. I'm just, talking to these people who had been to a Winterfest or something just a little while earlier. few weeks before, and we're like, okay, talking to these girls, getting into the dance, and oh my god, John was groping these girls so hard. It was so funny how many people were groping these girls, dude. So John and Chris are just like, smacking their ass and grabbing their ass, whatever, and they're getting pissed. But it's like, what are you gonna do? And I just didn't do anything. I'm just chilling there, like, good guy Tristan, right? No, not good guy Tristan ever. We give them their tickets. They didn't even check them. They just like looked, and like the back stamp was like this clear. It was like the silver shiny, like it would be really hard to replicate kind of a stamp on the back, or like the sticker thing. And they just, handed the tickets face value. Like, I'm like, wow, I could have easily printed one of these goddamn tickets, but no. And so we finally get, and then we're like, okay, well, I'm wearing a t-shirt over my tank top, because our plans were to take off these t-shirts when things had gotten crazy. So we're like, okay, and I'm in the shorts and everything, and shoes. I'm still in shoes, but either way, they'd been sprayed with silicone, so we're like, yeah, we'll be fine. So we go over there, and I check in some things. I check in my lanyard for my keys and everything. I check in don't check in my wallet. Yes, I do. I check in my wallet. And then I came back a little bit later to check in my phone and my t-shirt, because when things t-shirt titties, and so freaking it was so great. Chris and Chuck had matching t-shirts that said "Show me your titties." Well, they were tank tops, but you know what I mean. It was pretty great. Like, you can find them online, and I was like, okay, because my friend Chris had let me borrow the tank top he was going to wear, and it ended up turning out pretty great. And like I said, I don't wear tank tops, but man, this one looked good. I didn't know why. And so I check in both of those, and I did because it was just so wet. The foam ended up being about, at certain spots, over on the left hand side. If you were coming into the building from the DJ's point of view that I showed you guys earlier, that would be his right. So either way, guys, it was inside a larger room, right? A complete large room. And to the left, there were like bathrooms and stuff. And then there were also the places where you can check in your stuff. And you get like a laminated number, or not laminated, actually. I thought it was laminated at first, but it ended up not being a number of, what number where your items were placed. So I check in those things, and I go to the dance floor, and you can see like just this giant foam machine. As you can see, it's like producing things, just producing foam with a giant fan and just over everything. There are people under it, there are people raving, there are people dancing, but generally things were pretty mellow at the very beginning. I was still wearing my t-shirt at this point. I still had my phone in my pocket, which I ended up checking in, because I'm like, yeah, my phone would have gotten ruined completely. Oh my god, things got so crazy. So the only thing I had in my pockets a little bit later was chapstick and my number, and that'll play in later. So we end up just, we're just kind of standing around as a group, and stuff like that, and people are grinding over there, and people are under the foam machine, and people are just chilling, and generally things weren't very crazy. People were kind of dancing to the music, but I was like, I wasn't that into it. I just kind of got there. I was really nervous still, and I'm just kind of standing around. I dance a little bit here and there, but I didn't know. I'm like, are they gonna judge me? Burps. Are they going to judge me, or, should I just sit here? I don't know. So I danced a little bit and just went back to normal. So I didn't want to be too crazy right at the beginning, especially, but they were playing really loud dubstep, really awesome stuff, remixes. There was a DJ, and he ended up changing out for another DJ later that night, and both of them were really, really good, played some awesome music that I liked a lot. So we're just chilling around. Nothing much is going on. We end up walking around a few times just to see what's up on the other side. People are doing the same thing. Nothing too crazy happens for like the first half an hour. And keep in mind, this is like 8:30. So people start coming there. Some girls, and John and Chris and stuff like that are just groping these girls. And I thought it was pretty funny. So there were some new girls that came in from other schools, girls that I'd never seen before, and she was dancing with them. We end up going to the right-hand side where all the foam is, because the foam producer thing is more on the right side. It's not even in the center. That'd be kind of interesting, but it's more on the right side, so that's where all the foam is. So we end up kind of going over there and chilling and coming back, and I'm just talking to people, but it's really hard because it's extremely, extremely loud to actually talk to people with this music really, really close to you, actually. And keep in mind, this center had like a tarp all the way up and everything. And it was about 300 square feet, about 10 by 30. So it was like, it was a pretty big space to do your thing in. But really, really interesting because the foam would just kind of dissipate, but it was really, really popular on the right-hand side. And so we're like, okay, we go over to that right-hand side. People are just raving, going crazy. There are people just in the middle of it, just eating that foam up. And I ended up going under it a few times. Pretty interesting, pretty wet, and just a good feeling. The night just turned amazing. So we go over there, and I'm talking to this girl, and my friends had wanted to, like, approach these group of girls. We didn't know how old they were, but like, it's high school age only, so, you know, what can you lose, right? And he goes up to him, and she's like, nah. And I was like, I really wanted to go up to one, but with the way she was acting, they were all kind of dancing together. I just didn't decide to. There's a group of, like, 6 freshman girls, and I'm like, or freshmen, I imagine. But it's like, I call the shortest one, and my friend John was like, what the fuck? And it's like, no, she's mine. So it's like, okay, well, one of the girls that I was just introduced to, she doesn't go to our school. I've never seen her before. She really looked like my ex. I don't know why that worried me at first. I had to check because it was pretty dark. But like strobe lights would come on occasionally, but not all the time. So it was generally pretty dark. There weren't very many lights, and so that was an advantage for me because they couldn't see my ugly face, my youngin' face that I did have. So I was like, oh, this is my natural habitat. I can win here. So Will gets rejected by this girl, and he's like, yeah, fuck those girls anyway. It's like, well, we weren't doing too good to start with. And at this point, you guys, oh my god, I didn't mention this earlier. I have never grinded before tonight, or before Friday night. I have never grinded. I was just like, well, you know, didn't go to any school dances. The only dance I went to was homecoming, and that was my very first school dance, and she didn't let me grind. And I was like, made me so mad. So like, all right, well, I'm going to grind for my very first time tonight. So it's like, okay, we're talking to this new girl, and we basically told her my dilemma, and like, I'm nervous, and can you like show me how to grind or whatever, because I'm still kind of nervous. She's like, yeah, well, you just kind of move with a girl or whatever, grab her hips and do that stuff. So we grind, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on for like 10 seconds? And she was not into it. You could easily tell. It's just, I'm trying to do my thing. I'm just mostly grabbing her hips and everything. But Will after that was like, okay, dude, well, you need to, like, you know, rub your hands on her thighs and move them up and down, etc. Don't just hold her hips or whatever, because that gets kind of boring. So we tried that. I'm like, I'm still not feeling very confident. Going around, still looking for girls. Mostly, just a lot of people are just standing around at this point. Not a lot of, you know, things really got crazy. And so people are just standing around. And I don't know. I built up the courage, and I think I got rejected before this. I'm not completely sure, but I'm pretty sure I got rejected before I end up going to. So I go up to this really hot girl who's like a short, fresh, I don't fucking know how old she is, but I end up going to this really short, hot blonde girl, and I'm like, hey, do you want to dance with me? I'm just like, well, this may work. This may actually work. And she ended up knowing Chris was like, which I thought was interesting. I found that out just a little bit later. They were, you know, talking right after we grinded. And so I grinded with her for maybe 5-7 minutes. She knew I was new. I'm like, hey, I'm kind of new at this. She's like, all right, you know, can like guide me or whatever. But it ended up going pretty well. And this girl was pretty damn good. And I was like, oh, I can't even keep up with it. And so we stopped grinding. I'm like, all right, well, whatever. They talk, and I go around. I kind of wander around. And man, I swear, I went around this place probably 40 times, just around the entire pit. And it was really hard to get through people later because there was just this crazy orgy of, I want to say like 100 people inside this at one point. But people came and went. People were chilling outside this, you know, this foam pit or whatever. It was just such a great night. Oh my god, it just gets so much better. I love it. And so my first time grinding was just with that girl. I'm like, And then I grinded with the hot girl. I'm like, this is good. But I was going around, I was looking for more girls to dance with, and I'm like, okay. And so the short blonde girl brings up her friend, who's a little bit on the bigger side, and she's like, okay, well, she's never grinded before either, so we figured you could grind with her. I'm just like, I don't really want to, but sure. So that night, I'm ashamed to admit the fact that I grinded with two a little bit bigger girls than I would like, and it's not really that desirable when you're grinding. So we do that for maybe 30 seconds, and I'm just kind of like, she just feels like one piece. Like I can't even, like, I hate to be that much of an asshole, but I know that not that many girls watch my videos as of late, especially. I don't know why, or maybe they just haven't commented. And so, like, I'm running my hands on her thighs and stuff, and I'm just not feeling it. Like, I'm like, And, because she just feels like one. Like, there's, like, no difference between anything. I'm just like, no, no, thank you. Like, her ass just feels like one piece. Just one, just flat thing. And I'm just like, nope, nope, that is not a Mally. So I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of close with this, too. And so, see you later. Never dance with her again. But I got fucking conned into ground with a bigger girl later that night. And I was like, no, 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 no. And so, you guys give me shit about that if you want. But oh my god, when you hear what happened later, it was so great. So, it's probably around 9:30 this time. Haven't really done much. Grinded with one girl, I would say happily. And then the first girl was just kind of like a sympathy grind. And then the third girl is just like, she just, I don't know. She never grinded before, and I can see why. Ooh. I can't. I just brings tear back. I can't believe I did that, though. And so we're like, okay, well, we're chilling and everything. Everything's great. Walking around, talking to people. Things are getting a little bit more crazy in the dance floor. More people are coming. People are going, like I said. People are only there for a little bit. And the DJ changes over. And at this point, people are starting to dance more and more. I'm like, oh shit, man, I gotta find, like an official dance partner or something. Because obviously we didn't go with anyone. None of us went with anyone. They had planned to meet some people there. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But Will and I pretty much went without anyone. And we ended up meeting people there, which was pretty fucking cool. So we end up doing that. And I'm just going around and just, man, what do I do? What do I do? I can't find anyone to dance with. And occasionally got matched up with a few girls. One of them was like this tall redheaded chick. And I'm just like, oh my god, I can't even keep tabs with this girl. Because she's just way taller than I am. Because usually, like, you have to kind of bring yourself down when you're grinding to, like, their level or whatever. But it's, oh my god, this girl's, like, slightly taller than me. And it just wasn't that great. I wasn't really feeling that much either. Because I'm like, confidence issues. Like, this isn't helping, okay? This isn't helping. So it's like, okay, well, continue to do that, just going around. I don't know. At this point, I probably checked in my phone and shit because I was ready to go down to the deep end of the fucking foam, where it's like waist high. It was mid-thigh high, I swear. That is not exaggerating. I wish it were, but yeah, it was mid-thigh high at its highest. And it's like, okay, because as you guys see, well, not as you guys see, but on the right-hand side where not a lot of people were and the foam machine wasn't, it would be the DJ's right. Oh, God, I'm so sorry. Through the left-hand side from earlier. The left-hand side from earlier, where not a lot of people were grinding, not a lot of people were, and the foam machine wasn't. So, a lot of it just turned into water and just kind of foam. And so it wasn't even very high, maybe 3-4 inches at the max. But our shoes were absolutely soaked at this point. This rendered the silicone useless because they would just go to the side of your shoes and just get right in. They're like, hey, I'm water. And, they just kind of liquidize to your feet. And so, like, okay, well, things are getting pretty great. This is pretty crazy. So I only had chapstick and the number 198 in my pocket. I'm like, all right, well, I have my number. I have my chapstick. I remembered it just in case I lost the number. I'd be like, give me my wallet. Give me my wallet. So, we're dancing, we're doing our own things. They're having these girls they're dancing with, but mostly John is dancing with this one girl that I tried to dance with, but I didn't know John and her had a thing, and I was like, well, okay, well, I won't dance with her then. Apparently, that won't be a thing that's happening. It's like, all right, I'm just, walking around, talking to people, being pretty lonely at this point. I ended up having, like, one more, oh my god, I can't even, because I tried to dance with the very second girl I danced with, the short, hot blonde one. I try to dance with her again. I go up to her, and, I'm, like, waiting, and my friend Chris is talking to her, like I mentioned, again, because apparently they were friends. They've been friends for a while. And, oh my god, what I forgot to mention is that this is just such a crazy story. There's just so much shit that happened. I'm so sorry, guys, but when I danced with that girl the very first time, I whispered in her, I'm like, I think you're gorgeous, by the way. At the end, can you give me your number? She kind of looks at me weird, and I'm like, yeah, kind of like, you came on too strong, or whatever. But I'm like, it's worth a shot, right? And so she looks at me, she's like, well, I just broke up with my boyfriend, so no thank you, or whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, I respect that. That's whatever. I don't really care if that's an excuse or not. I'll take it. So I try to dance with her later, and she was just kind of like, no. And one of the points, because what you do is you just go up to him, you tap him on the shoulder, you're like, hey, do you want to dance with me? And she's like, no, I'm trying to find someone. I'm just like, what kind of bullshit is that? And so I'm like, okay, well, this girl's out. And I think I tried 2.5 times. Only 2 of the times I actually asked her But the other half time I was just kind of standing there while they talked, and then she ended up going to find someone, and I'm like, well, I'm not gonna ask her this time. I'm not gonna follow her and be like, hey, dance with me. But I'm like, okay, well, if I'm that bad, then all right. But going around and just chilling, and it's getting later, man. It's probably 10ish or so right about now. I'm not even sure at this point. It's 9:30, 10. And we're standing by the very front where it would be closest to the exit and away, farthest away from the DJ, if you guys can picture that. I don't know, the back, whatever you want to call it. Standing at the back. It's just fantastic stuff. We're standing there, and I'm with my friend John at this point. So we're just standing there. We're kind of looking, seeing girls coming in, seeing people leave, whatever. And these girls come in, and they come in this group of like 3 or 4. I'm not even sure, but I'm pretty sure it was just 3 of them. And so he looks to me, he's like, dude, let's go ask these girls. I'm like, okay, that's a fucking great idea. And, I call her or whatever. And it's like, okay. Wasn't too confident at this point because I got rejected by a few girls. I ended up asking a girl twice. She was pretty fucking hot, but I ended up asking her like once, and because it's really, really hard to see, so you can't even tell if you've asked the same girl multiple times or whatever. So I go up, and I don't even know if my friend was with me at this point, but I tap her on the shoulder, and I'm like, I look at her, and she turns to me. I'm like, hey, do you want to dance with me? She's like, sure, I would like to. I'm like, okay. So we just start walking. We go to the left-hand side of the dance floor where there's not a lot of foam or whatever, where the foam machine isn't, and we're chilling, and I'm like, I tell her straight up, I'm like, hey, I'm kind of new to this, so if I suck, then let me know, and it'll be good. She's like, nah, it'll be fine. So we grinded for probably 10 to 15 minutes or something great like that. Our thighs got fucking sore. It was ridiculous. I talked to her for a little bit, got her name down. Yeah, she's on my suspect list. I don't know. So I'm like, hey, what's your name? She tells me. I'm like, okay, well, that's cool. I told her my name, grade, whatever. And she asked me for her grade or my grade. And so she was a freshman. I was like, yeah, that's all right. I'm only 11th grade. Man, I really don't think I'm going to go there as a senior. That would just be creepy. Hey, how old are you? I'm 14. I'm 18. Deal with it. I don't know. But I was like, okay, well, this is completely fine with me. Yeah, fuck it, because, 8th graders and stuff weren't alone, and that's just creepy, Tristan. That's just creepy. So we danced for a little bit, and I'm like, my thighs are kind of sore, and we're just kind of hanging around, talking, and I'm like, well, I'll see you later. But I told her, I was like, hey, but I'm going to get your number before I leave. And so she's like, all right, well, whatever. She was pretty cool about it. And so, going around, I'm looking for other people to dance with. I get rejected. And you want to know the best part about that night? The worst rejection I got was no thank you. Oh my god, it was so great. I was like, where do you find women like this? Like, because I've had a rejection way worse than that. Linked in the description below. Oh my god, my worst rejection was just one of those things. But yeah, the meanest girl's like, no thank you. And I'm just like, oh, how are you so nice? How is that? I'm not even asking for much, but shit, and just no thank you. I wish girls were that nice all the time. But it's like, all right, well, walking around, getting rejected, trying to figure out people to dance with them. Like, at this point, I think is when I dance with the second thick chick, and I'm just like, oh god. These girls come up, and they're like, hey, fucking, oh my god. Well, Will comes up with these girls, and they're just like, hey, this girl wants to dance with you. I'm like, sure. Like, I felt so pressured. I was like, yeah, I'm feeling desperate, but oh shit. And I do the same thing, and I'm dancing with this girl for maybe 30 seconds. I was like, not this shit again. And I just kind of like, I'm just gonna take my hands off and walk away. Like, nope, I would rather not dance than dance with you. Thank you so much, my lady. Either way, we start doing that, and I'm just looking around, and I think I saw this girl I was dancing with earlier, the main one who just walked in. Let's call her Let's call her Sam. Definitely not her name, but let's call her Sam. It's not even close. Just when in doubt, name a girl Sam. It's just easier to remember. So Sam was a girl who walked in, and my friends went up to her. Well, they don't even think they went with me. Tapped her on the shoulder, and she danced with me. Thighs got sore, whatever. Things went well. I'm like, all right, well, I can definitely dance with this girl again with how things went. Like I thought I could, the short, hot blonde girl, but no, apparently not. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going around. I think I saw Sam dancing with some guy, but I'm not even sure. It was, like I said, really, really hard to see, really dark. Strobe lights would come on occasionally. You're like, oh, so that's what your face looks like. And you'd see some girls like, oh, I danced with her, and you see other girls like, holy shit, she's really that hot, or whatever. I don't know. Pretty crazy. But a lot of people on the foam side of things were just crazy foam. And like I said, I ventured over there and, chilled over there for a little while. But I didn't do a lot of dancing over there due to the fact that there's just so many people. It's like an orgy fest, dude. Really hard to even maneuver through people. I didn't really mention that. But, yeah, pretty crazy. Oh my god. Oh my god. I left that apart. I left it apart. So, right after I think what kind of... I don't know. Right after I started dancing with Sam and everything, we started dancing a little bit after our 10 minutes or whatever. And we start seeing everyone kind of pouring out of this, 300 square foot spot where people dance, and then to the regular, cement floor that's not, doesn't have any foam on it. Well, it does from people traction or whatever. And we just see a bunch of people pouring out. I'm like, holy shit, there's a fight. And so I'm like, hey, follow me. And so we end up going and we go to the outside of the crowd. And then, I couldn't see anything, couldn't see anybody. But then eventually the DJ stops. He gets on his mic. He's like, hey, I'm not going to have none of that gangsta shit. You guys aren't going to be pulling kind of thing in here. And, if you guys want to do that, don't do it here. This is not the place. I'm not going to play music if you guys are going to fight. And, he literally said, pull that gangsta shit. I'm like, dude, I told her, I'm like, dude, this guy's a fucking badass. Like, that is great because this is a school sponsored dance, and there shouldn't really be any fighting. So a little bit later they called for this guy Reese or whatever, because apparently I don't know, someone pushed someone else and they got mad and they wanted to fight, and it would have been pretty cool. But like a few cops came and they're like looking for these guys, and I don't know if they found them or not, but I'm pretty sure what I heard is someone got arrested. I'm like, I don't really know if I believe it. I heard that from the tall freaking redhead chick I danced with. It was just way too awkward, just way too fucking awkward. It's like, well, I don't look at you the same anymore because you're a freshman and you're taller than me. It's just not okay. Oh my god, I have so much more of the story left. It's just insane. So it's like, okay, let's just get the meat into the bones of it. And we're like, I'm angry. We end up going back and then parting ways, and that's when I danced with the second thick chick and just like, getting rejected, no thank you, whatever. Coming back to it, and I'm like, okay, well, I found her, though. I find her, and she's with her friends, just chilling, just talking, dancing a little bit. And I go up to her, I'm like, hey, do you want to dance again? And she's like, yeah, sure. And so we danced for maybe 15, 20 minutes and just chilling, talking to her a little bit here and there, getting to know some stuff about what she does and her favorite sports and classes and stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, this is cool. And just goes so misleading. So we're like, okay, well, I'm gonna go get water. So I get her water, and we come back and we're drinking water. So romantic. Just isn't that so hot? And we dispose of that and we dance a little bit more, and things are going well. I'm like, okay, well, I go talk to my friends about it for a little bit, and I see them chilling with these girls, and everyone's kind of just spread apart, and everyone's going with their own ways. They're all with different girls, and Will's dancing with some girls, and you see him later a little bit, and just going around. And I come back to this girl, and like, we dance for a little bit more. It was pretty great, actually, because we ended up dancing for like long periods at a time, and our legs would just get so fucking sore. If you guys have ever grinded, you'll know exactly what I mean. Like, your thighs and calves just get absolutely destroyed, and just like, oh my god. So we do that, and we take breaks, and she'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, I have conditioning, and this works out. I'm like, oh my god, so hot. I can't even. And so it's like, okay, we do that, and, I grab her hips, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to kiss this girl, because, fuck, dude, why not? It's worth a shot. So I grab her hips, and she starts, trying to grind on me again, and I kind of just, like, turn her towards me, because I was kind of on her side, and so she thought I wanted to dance again, but no. And I turn towards her, and I kiss her, and then I noticed she, like, started opening her mouth or whatever she wanted to make out, and I pull back, I kind of look at her, I'm like, oh, yeah, fuck yeah. And so I go back, and I make out with her for maybe 2 minutes or so. And everything was great, 2-3 minutes, not even sure, and just macking, and people were like, oh, Tristan, get it, it's great, and people were cheering me on, maybe one or two people, just my friends who were there with me, seeing me kind of single, and then going, dancing with some people, and then coming back, and just, finally dancing with this one girl, and, making out with her, whatever. And I had seen some of my friends make out with some other girls as well, and I was like, oh, damn, get it, and apparently, when that stops, her friend like pulls her aside. She's like, hey, and they start talking. I'm just kind of standing behind them, and they're having girl talk, and I'm like, oh god, girl talk is not one of those things that I want to deal with. And I'm like, well, let's think about this here. And so they're having girl talk, they're doing their thing, and I'm just kind of standing back like, yeah, so I'm still here, that's a thing. I'm still here, love me. And I'm like, oh God, what are they talking about? What are they talking about? And so, I asked her friend, I'm like, hey, what's up? And is there something wrong with me making out with her or whatever? And she's like, well, she kind of has this thing with this guy. And I'm like, what the fuck do you mean by this thing? And I'm kind of pissed, but I'm like, well, wait, I didn't hear it from her. She obviously didn't have a problem with it. And she's like, okay, well, basically this guy likes her and they're really close to dating. And I'm like, yeah, well, you want to know the thing about that? Tough luck to that guy. No, just kidding. I didn't say that, but I was just kind of like, oh, okay, well then. We ended up dancing a little bit more, and I made out with her again, even longer this time, and it was just whatever. I'm like, fuck what your friends think. She obviously didn't care, which was really good, but we ended up doing that, dancing a little bit more. And it comes to like 10:30. I don't even know where the time went, because we didn't have phones or anything. There wasn't like a clock in there, and so we just kind of had to ask for times here and there. I only asked for times like twice. Overall, it was just a fantastic night. And so she's about to leave, and I didn't have my phone on me. As I said, it's in layaway or stocking or wherever it was, 198. And so I'm like, hey, and I did the motion for her phone, and so she takes out her phone, and like, it's a fucking slide phone with a keyboard. I'm like, oh my God, I've not seen or owned one of these in years. I'm like, this is like a foreign piece of technology. So I'm like sitting there and trying to find the contacts button. I'm like, oh shit, I can't find it. Finally find it, enter my number, and I entered my number, and I entered it as Tristan ... party ? And so she thought that was kind of funny. I made a few jokes, stupid jokes, because she was telling me how she was good at volleyball, and I was like, well, you could probably serve correctly 1 out of 4 times. It was a stupid joke, but she laughed at it. I'm like, oh, okay, well, this girl may like me, and this was before we made out. It's like, all right, well, bye, text me or whatever, because I felt so mad. I was like, I should have gotten her number. I should have had her number and, been able to text her and be like, well. So she ends up leaving, doing her thing at 10:30-ish. I don't know, 10:45, man. Fuck, I lose track of time. Especially these things where you can't keep track of it. And so throughout the rest of the night, I kind of went around. I don't think I really even danced with anyone more, like actually grinded, but I ended up dancing with a few friends, just kind of, just jumping up and down and raving and stuff. And everything was great. People were clearing out left and right. And a little bit later, as people were clearing out, Will had started just like sliding, because there's just this layer of water on this tarp, right? And there's water and soap and everything, so it's very, very slick. The coefficient of, sliding friction is not very high or whatever. And oh my God, I ended up slipping a few times while we were grinding. It was so scary. I was like, oh God, I was dying. And she slipped once too. I thought it was pretty funny. Didn't fall though, just slipped. It's just one foot just gives out, dude. It's just so slick. And so Will just starts sliding. He's doing his thing. And then I start doing it. And then, as more people are clearing out, more people start sliding. It ends up turning to this thing. People are just sliding and going. And I'm doing slides and spins. Luckily, I didn't fall. Some people did. I thought it was fucking hilarious. And it ended up turning into this thing where, as so many people cleared out, there's probably only 20 people in here now, and they're on each side of the thing, and people are sliding, and people are doing their things, and people are just doing crazy things. And I noticed one girl do like a slip and slide, and I'm like, oh my God, that's fucking genius. I haven't been on a slip and slide in years. So in a tank top and fucking shorts, I go and I'm running, I'm going full sprint, and I just freaking dive, and I'm like, oh my God, and slide all the way to the end. It was so much fun. I was like, oh my God, this worked a lot better than a slip and slide, by the way, guys. Or man, maybe I just haven't been on a slip and slide in forever. This is my official longest story. Holy shit, you guys. So that happens, and I'm like, well, whatever. It's toning towards the end of the thing, and I end up getting my phone and wallet and stuff, and I ended up getting I didn't even get my freaking phone the first time. Phone and t-shirt, I just left it there. I just got my wallet and lanyard. And like towards the end, I'm like, oh shit. After I cleaned up a little bit, I'm like, yeah, I kind of forgot my cell phone and shirt. She's like, oh, these are yours. I'm like, yes, they're mine. Thank God I didn't forget. And I'm not sure if I forgot a sweatshirt there. I really didn't think I gave them one. Maybe it's at my friend's house. I imagine that's where it is, but maybe it's here. I don't even know. We end up getting our stuff. We're just kind of waiting to go. We're discussing what happened at the party and stuff like that. You know, what happened with the fight? And that's where I figured out that maybe some guy got arrested for assaulting a minor or whatever because he ended up running. It was like a senior. I don't know. It's just stupid stuff. Wasn't sure if I really believed it or not. But in the bathroom, and I was drying off my hands and stuff because I was getting ready to leave to get my wallet and everything. I didn't want my wallet and stuff to be all foamy and just soapy and stuff. Some guy tells me, he's like, holy shit, someone threw up in here. And we're like, what? And so in the bathroom, in one of the stalls, there's just like puke all over the ground. And then, you know, it kind of just spread out due to all the water on the floor because there's water and soap everywhere. Obviously tracked outside of the freaking dance floor. You know, it's on your legs. It's on everything. It's absolutely everywhere. I'm soaking wet at this point, especially with the slip and slide stunt that I pulled off. I'm really wet. And so we're just going around. Such a great night. Anyway, going around, doing our thing, whatever, it doesn't really matter, and we're just chilling, about to leave. We finally end up leaving, and we're like, holy shit, it's cold as fuck outside. I put on my t-shirt over my wet t-shirt, and all of my clothes are just drenching wet. We get into our cars, and we're laying towels down, drying off a little bit, and Will and I end up parting our ways home. The only bad thing to this story so far is that I'm like, well, I kind of made out with this girl. I got a little bit about her. She laughed at a stupid joke or whatever. I'm like, all right, well, maybe this girl likes me a little bit. Well, it's Sunday morning, pretty much, for me, and still absolutely nothing on my phone. I'm just like, well, I'm pretty sure this girl just had like a one-night thing, or maybe it more is about that guy, but it's also just like, well, I don't think anything will come of it. If anything does come from this girl, then maybe I'll let you guys know, but I'm pretty sure I gave her my number, and that was a lost cause. However, a very, very fun night, and the moral of this story, you guys, and you will hear Will's part of it, probably won't be as long as mine, because I can just provide ridiculous details about things. I don't know, stories are great. Oh, man, I just wish I could recite the entire night, because there's just so much fun, raving, going around, talking to girls, dancing, going under the foam machine, and just, so much fun. So we're like, okay, well, still didn't text me. So the moral of the story, you guys, I'm sorry, I'm coming back to it, man. I'm just getting way off track here, is always go to social events that you want to, that are healthy for you, basically. If you're feeling nervous or stuff like I was super nervous at the beginning. I'm like, the main thing I was worried about wasn't how I would be dancing or how I would be grinding for the first time. It was if I was going to be grinding for the first time. So what I would tell you guys is to fucking do it. Just do it. If your gut is like, I'm kind of nervous, dude, like, I don't know about this. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. You will not regret it. What's the worst that could happen? Okay, you're getting outside, you're going there, you're doing things with people that you like, you're doing things, you're testing new environments, you're being, extroverted and doing healthy things that get you outside and get you feeling good. So the moral of the story, guys, is that, and I really hope you guys did enjoy this and learn something useful, but I thought that was pretty great. If anything comes from this girl, I will let you know, but I do not believe so. Either way, I had a fantastic time, would not change it for the world, definitely worth $12 fucking dollars. If you guys did enjoy the story, don't forget to smash that like button. Also, if you made it to this part of the video, comment chapstick, because I had that in my pocket the entire night. I don't know why. It's like, okay, well, if I see chapstick comments, I will know that you guys are the best motherfucking ghost army that is out there. Have a great day, and remember, this is the longest story that I have ever told in my entire life.